Welcome back to this week's market review. So there's a lot of stuff happening in the market. Let's take a look at the dollar index first because there was a little bit of a confusion early in the week, and we put out the outlook saying that not necessarily means the US dollar is actually going to be weaker because of that jump in gold. And we saw that the dollar index kind of pushed back up a little bit. This is now approaching close to that 104 level. It was still capped at 104, but progress for this week, we're still looking at the US dollar being well supported. Now, moving on, obviously, to other currency majors, we actually have seen the Aussie USD fall back down to 65.25, which is the same exact level that we talked about on Monday for the potential for the Aussie USD to come back and test support at 65.25. It did just that, and then it bounces off. Currently it is at around 66 cents. I think amongst all the currency majors for the Aussie USD, this one here is a little bit more on the slightly bullish side because on the comments from the RBA saying that inflation, it's more homegrown and demand driven. That's comments from RBA Bullock, and that's likely going to be supporting the Australian dollar in the near future, at least for what we've seen. It is still kind of range from between 65 cents to 66 cents at this point in time. The retracement that we anticipated, the pullback towards 65.25, the market did just that as of yesterday. Now moving on to the Euro USD, this one here has broken below that 1.0850 support level. It is kind of just floating in between that 1.08, 1.07 level. I think for now the 1.08 is still going to be a cap for the Euro USD, especially leading up to today's NFP number. For now, this is still being capped at 1.08. In terms of support, we still have that stronger support coming in at 1.0650 to 1.07. For the pound USD, we still have that support at 1.2550. This is the level that we mentioned again on the outlook. We were looking for that pullback towards 1.2550. For now, it is still holding on pretty strongly, but the momentum kind of shifted. We talked about the intent to sell at 1.27. It was still well supported at 1.26, but considering the shift in price movement below 1.26, you can see when I zoom in on the pound USD here in the past 3 days, we can actually look at the transition below 1.26, and the intent to sell kind of shifted down from 1.27 to 1.26. So this is currently within a very tight range between 1.2550 and 1.26. Waiting for a potential breakout. I think it would be in time for the NFP release for tonight. And the biggest news is obviously the dollar Japanese yen. You can see the slide there on the dollar Japanese yen. So what happened was yesterday, Ueda was being called into the Prime Minister's residence to talk about the monetary policy, and he actually come out in Parliament today and says that they are probably going to be shifting. It's not probably, but they will be shifting from the negative interest rate. The inflation in Japan has kind of been above 2% target rate for the past year. And right now, the only concern to them is this inflation picked up, but it's not wage driven. And that's the only concern that the Bank of Japan has. But looking at the current situation and what the statement today says, they're basically trying to end the negative interest rate that they have been having, which is the ultra easy monetary policy. And they did mention in terms of where they're going to take it. Are they going to take it to 0.25 or maybe 0.5% in terms of interest rate? It's a matter of when, it's not a matter of if. So I think this is the biggest story for this week. We can see how the Japanese yen has picked up. There's a lot of carry trade unwinding that's been going on for the dollar Japanese yen. It's also evident on the sterling yen as well. You can see the drop in sterling yen. It dropped significantly, and you're not looking at an intervention in the market. The market did drop 640 pips yesterday, just on one day on the sterling yen, and as well as on the euro yen as well. We are also looking at a very significant drop yesterday, which is more than 5 yen, and this is not an intervention. This is on the back of comments coming up from the Bank of Japan to kind of confirm that, yes, they're moving away from ultra easy monetary policy. They are going to end the negative interest rate, and they are going to start moving it. The question that the market is pondering is whether this is actually going to happen in December, because during the statement to the Parliament, what came out was the decision was hard for Bank of Japan to kind of move away from that ultra easy monetary policy towards the end of the year and at the beginning of the year. So that kind of hints at a potential shift that could happen as early as this month in December, or maybe in January, for the Bank of Japan to actually end their negative interest rate. So they might actually be starting to potentially move away from negative 0.1, just above 0%. Very, very soon. And then beyond that, in 2024, I think the market is already pricing in for the potential that the Bank of Japan is actually going to move 25 or maybe even 50 basis points for 2024. So that's pretty much it for this week. Don't forget that there's going to be NFP release for today on Friday, the 8th of December. This is market is currently waiting for the US NFP release. The expectation is that for the NFP to kind of picked up. Last month we've got 150,000 gains in the NFP numbers. Market is currently pricing in for 180,000 gains. I think the big question is whether or not that 150,000 gains from the previous month, is it going to get revised up or is it going to get revised down? So be careful when you're trading the NFP numbers. It's been a very volatile week, especially the Japanese yen. We are looking at a strong comeback from the yen here. There's a huge carry trade unwinding that's ongoing since yesterday. I might continue that way, or it might actually stabilize us a little bit depending on the volatility that's going to be created from the NFP number that's going to get released today from the US. So good luck with your trades, and I'll see you soon.